It was a thriller in Los Angeles. Penn State overcomes a 14-point deficit to defeat USC 33-30 at the LA Memorial Coliseum on Saturday afternoon in a game that Penn State fans will soon not forget. My name is Dylan Callaghan-Croley, beat writer, recruiter, and a little bit of everything over at Happy Valley Insider of the Rivals Network covering Penn State athletics. I just want to do a quick instant reaction podcast here going over Penn State's win on Saturday. Again, a thriller in the Coliseum. A Hollywood script, if you would write it. A game that in years past, I'm not sure Penn State would have won. In fact, we know Penn State would not have won these type of games in the past because they have not. They struggled in these moments in the past, but this team appears to be a different team. This team does not appear, the lights do not appear to be too bright for this Penn State team following Saturday's win, in my opinion. I mean, this was a game in which Penn State was trailing 17-3 early in the second quarter in years past. It was a game that at times they could have easily, folded and lost this game, but instead the Nittany Lions found a way to ultimately overcome that 14-point deficit, 26 deficit at halftime to win this game 33-30. Obviously, I am not at the LA Memorial Coliseum. I am at home here in Pennsylvania. Definitely wish I would have been at this game, but was not on the card for me today. But what a phenomenal game. I mean, no matter how this game broke, both these teams really played super strong games. Penn State, I think, obviously played the better game as we look at the final numbers here. Outgained USC 518 to 409. Penn State's rushing attack was not affected today. 3.8 yards on the ground per rush against one of the worst teams in the country against the run. Big Ten against the run. But Drew Aller, who struggled in big games last year, steps it up. 30 for 43, 391, 2 touchdowns, had 3 interceptions. One came on a Hail Mary, so really 2 interceptions. Outside those 2 picks, he was magnificent. Tyler Warren, if he does not win the Mackey Award this year, the award should not exist. 17 receptions, 224 and a touchdown. 20 targets in this game. 20 targets. USC had no answers to him. Penn State was going to him over and over again, and USC just couldn't solve how to stop Tyler Warren. What a phenomenal effort from him. And then, Ryan Barker, the walk-on. Second career game, 4 for 4, hits the game winner in overtime from 36 yards. Penn State has found themselves a kicker in Barker, and what a performance for him on Saturday. Penn State needed a total team effort in this win. They got it, especially in that second half. I mean, as we look at the stats here, let's go to that second half comparison. And yeah, here we go. 27-10 in the second half. Penn State gained them 314 to 161, including 267 passing yards in that second half on 18-25 passing. Just a phenomenal second half effort from Penn State, especially their defense. I mean, you look at the drive chart for USC. It looked early on as though Penn State may run away with this game. Gets a quick stop here to start the game against USC. Comes back out, 72-yard drive, gets a field goal, goes up 3-0. The Trojans, though, were desperate in this game. I mean, this is a USC team that came off a loss to Minnesota last week. It lost today, essentially eliminates them from the college football playoff conversation. Excuse me, I fixed the video. But eliminates them from the college football playoff conversation. So you knew USC was going to come out with some fire. They come out on that second drive, one play, 75 yards. Quinton Joyner with the big run on a jet sweep. He somehow only got 2 more carries on the day. I don't know what Lincoln Riley is doing. Quinton Joyner coming to the game, we highlighted him as the big guy in that USC running back room, the one that they should absolutely get the ball to more and more. They didn't do it today. Despite that 75-yard touchdown run, I'm not sure what USC is doing. Now, running the ball wasn't an issue for USC on Saturday. 24 carries, 189 yards, 7.9 yards per carry. Penn State did a really good job in the second half. But, Quinton Joyner has made play after play for USC. And to get the ball to him just 3 times plus 2 receptions, 5 total, touches for Joyner seems a little bit like coaching malpractice for the Trojans. But what do I know? going back to this game and chronologically here, USC comes out with that punch. How does Penn State answer? They punt the ball right back, and then USC comes back out and scores right again, going 89 yards in 7 plays. Penn State's down 14-3, and you're sitting back going, oh no, Penn State's in trouble in this one. How are they going to react? Drew Aller comes back out the next drive, throws a pick. USC starts the ball at Penn State's 25 on that 26-yard line of that drive, and it looks like this game's going to get out of hand for Penn State. They're going to be down 3 scores early before it's even midway through the second quarter. But this drive, right after the interception, I think is what changed this game. Penn State forces a field goal opportunity, gets off the field with just giving up 3 points. It's 17-3 instead of 21-3, and I think that changed the game. Penn State goes down 3 scores there. It's game over. They're not coming back. There's the field goal there, however, saves Penn State. They really don't get the ball rolling offensively until the second half, but the defense is able to get enough stops the rest of the way in the second quarter. Only allows another field goal after Penn State gets a field goal opportunity as well. They go into halftime 20-6. Going to halftime, I thought if Penn State can get a touchdown to start the second half, they would be okay, have a good chance of winning that game. That's what they come out doing in the second half. They come out guns blazing, 5 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. Great play that saw Bo Pabila go to Drew Aller, double pass, Bo Pabila, Drew Aller to Tyler Warren for a touchdown. And then the defense gets the ball rolling. This forces, right here, 2 USC punts in a row. Penn State got a touchdown in between those 2 punts to tie the game at 20-20. So, back-to-back strong offensive drives, back-to-back strong defensive drives. Penn State's right back into this. You're thinking Penn State has all the momentum. They just force another punt. It's a tied game. USC doesn't seem to have any way to stop this Penn State offense because you go back to the second quarter, Penn State had a 10-play, 64-yard drive right before halftime. Not counted their 1 play before half. So that's 1, 2, 3 drives of 60-plus yards in a row for Penn State. Then Drew Aller throws his second interception. It gives USC the ball at Penn State's 24. But again, Tom Allen's defense, quick change of possession, gets a stop, forces another field goal. It's 23-20. And then the Penn State offense picks up right where they left off. 9 plays, 75 yards, 72 yards, ties the game on a field goal. Penn State had five red zone opportunities today. Had to settle for 3 field goals in that. That's something they're going to have to improve on going forward. But 5 for 5 is the number that matters here. Obviously, they would like to convert those into touchdowns, not field goals, but 5 for 5. So they get the field goal. It's 23-20, and then the defense is having these strong drives in the second half, and then USC finally breaks through in the second half, gets a 9-play, 75-yard drive to take a 30-23 lead, and that's where it seems that Penn State, great second half effort, got back into the game, tied it up twice, but it was not going to be in the dice for them to complete the comeback. They were going to fall short like they have in the past in these scenarios. But as this whole game was, that wasn't the case. This was the game that went against what Penn State has done historically in these moments under James Franklin. Historically, they don't pull out these wins. They found a way to do that on Saturday. They answer with people on Twitter were, saying a Drew Aller legacy drive. That's absolutely what it was. It was a Drew Aller legacy drive. And let's go to that fourth quarter drive here on Stat Broadcast. And let's see if we can find it here. There is the touchdown. Here's the drive. So, let's immediately go to this 4th and 7 play. Penn State's 4th and 7 at their own 44. They failed this one. USC has the ball in Penn State territory. A field goal or a touchdown would essentially ice this game for USC if they get the 4th down stop. They do not. Drew Aller finds Julian Fleming for a catch. I believe it was a pretty contested catch, actually. Fleming had a bad drop early in the game, but he makes the big reception there. Gets Penn State. A few plays later, Penn State's into USC territory, and then it is once again 4th down. Who does Drew Aller go to again? Julian Fleming. This was a particularly great play by Drew. had some pressure, had to evade the pocket, roll right, found Fleming in the middle of the field, got the ball to him. Fleming makes the catch. It's another Penn State first down. Julian Fleming has not had the impact that many thought he would have for Penn State. I think the impact people thought he was going to have was probably a little bit overblown. He hasn't been that receiver in his career, but he hasn't had a big impact through the first 5 games for Penn State. But in the biggest moments for Penn State this season, arguably the 2 biggest plays for Penn State this season up to this date, Julian Fleming was the receiver to come through. I thought that was quite poetic in a way, and even if he doesn't make many more big impacts this season, the fact that he made those 2 big plays really is, I think, a really nice moment for him, and maybe a storyline that will go under the radar in this one. A couple plays later, Penn State scores on a touchdown from Allard to Singleton, ties the game. All right, so I think a lot of people, I know a couple of my Penn State friends who are fans, thought, great, tied the game, but this is going to be the Rose Bowl again, right? USC is going to come back, go down the field, win the game on a field goal. Once again, that's not the story that was written on Saturday. That was not the script that was written on Saturday for Penn State. Instead, Penn State is, they allow USC to get into their territory. They had about 10 yards to work with. 10 more yards. USC was going to be into Penn State, was going to be into field goal range. Instead, Lincoln Riley, some clock mismanagement. You could argue that James Franklin was being pretty conservative with his own timeouts. It was down to 17 seconds. Miller Moss tries to get 10, 15 yards on a pass. Instead, Orr throws his receiver. It's intercepted by Jalen Reed, who returns it to midfield. Penn State gets 2 plays. Drew Allard tries a Hail Mary, comes up short on the Hail Mary, ultimately intercepted, and we go to overtime. Penn State's defense comes down in overtime, gets a quick stop. USC's field goal kicker, who's been pretty phenomenal all season, Michael Lance, misses a 45-yard attempt after making a 47-yarder earlier. Penn State gets the ball in overtime. 3 plays later, the walk-on Ryan Barker, who was phenomenal, as we said at the top, 4 for 4, nails the 36-yarder. Walk-off victory for Penn State, and the Nittany Lions went 33-30 in a truly remarkable comeback victory. So what does it mean for Penn State now that they are 6-0 in the season? Well, they go into the bye week 6-0. That's big. On my TV behind me right now is the USC Oregon game. I don't have that game pulled up, but not USC Oregon, Ohio State Oregon. We'll check the quick score here as we record this. So Ohio State and Oregon currently playing. It's 2015 Ohio State right before halftime. Oregon has the ball on Ohio State side of the field. We'll maybe check back on that right before we wrap this up. But regardless of who wins that game, Penn State will move into number 3 in the top 25 after this week's win. They'll head into the bye week top 3. And guess what? Texas and Georgia play next week. And that means there's a chance in a couple of weeks if Penn State takes care of business against Wisconsin on October 26th at Penn State, Ohio State at Beaver Stadium on November 2nd is a 1v2 matchup. At the very least, it's going to be a top 10 matchup. Penn State gives themselves some wiggle room here with the win. A loss on Saturday would not have been a killer, but it would have, it would have taken out that room for error. They would have been able to lose to Ohio State, probably still have a good case for the college football playoffs, but now outside of the Ohio State game, nobody really should beat this Penn State team. Penn State will have an opportunity to beat that Ohio State team. I think this Penn State team can beat them, especially at Beaver Stadium. But even if Penn State loses that game to Ohio State, the college football playoff berth is nearly a guaranteed lock as long as they take care of business in their other 5 games. I would say the big takeaways for me in this one, Drew Aller steps up in the big under the lights game, 30 for 43, 391. He had a couple misses late in that fourth quarter, but when he had to hit the big passes, he did. And you look at this second half that he had, really a remarkable second half. 8 straight completions there, 5 there, so 13 for 14. And then that drive, Penn State's forced to throw the ball a lot. USC knows it. USC gets, breaks up 5 of 6, but at the end of the day, Drew Allard was phenomenal in that third quarter when Penn State needed him to be phenomenal. And he showed why he should be a first-round draft pick, why I think he has an argument as the number one quarterback in the draft this year. A phenomenal game out of him. Penn State's rushing attack was not good today against a very bad USC run defense. Nick Singleton, only 2.6 yards per carry. He still looks banged up. Bye week will be big for him to get healthy. Katron Allen was not overly effective either. Drew Allard was effective, 4 for 32. Tyler Warren, we talked about him. Harrison Wallace was solid. Clifford had some nice receptions. Fleming, the 2 big receptions. Story of the game really was Allard, Tyler Warren. Those would be the 2 guys everybody talks about. But Penn State, 518 yards total offense, 400 total passing yards. Third down wasn't great, but third down they were great defensively. But 2 for 2 on fourth down, 6.9 yards per play, 12.9 yards per completion. They continue to be really good when they're moving the ball through the air. 5 for 5 in the red zone. Defensively, 3 turnovers, allowed just 6 points off the turnovers. Really only 2 turnovers, allowed 6 points. Did not allow a single sack, only allowed 1 TFL. They stayed in front of the sticks in this game. That was huge for them, especially. Also penalties, also big. Defensively, I didn't think the pass defense actually was that bad today. I know a lot of Penn State fans did not like what they saw out of the pass defense early, but you look at it, Miller Moss was solid, but he wasn't overly impressive in my opinion. In the mid to deep, intermediate and deep passing games, he was 10 for 21 there for 130-ish yards. Penn State got killed in the screen game. That was I think a big point in our preview of USC's offense, of the screen game being big for them. Penn State could not, stop that screen game early. It was not as big of a factor in the second half, which is good. Penn State did struggle to stop the run early in this game, but settled down in the second half, just 3.2 yards per carry in that second half compared to 13.1 yards per carry in that first half. Now, a lot of that was that 75-yard touchdown run. I'll pull up the calculator here because I am bad at math. But 147 yards in that first half on the ground, 72 yards outside of that one play. So it's still about 7.2 yards per carry in that first half for USC. So defense overall really settled in that second half for Penn State. They continue to be phenomenal in the second half this season. I think they've now allowed 19 total points in the second half this year. Really, that was the key for Penn State this game, was those second half adjustments, and both Andy Kotelnicki and Tom Allen were tremendous in those second half adjustments, and it was enough for Penn State to come away with a 33-30 win on Saturday against USC. Again, just a phenomenal win for Penn State, one that Penn State fans will not forget about a long time. Nor anybody I think who watched this game. It was an instant classic. These two teams seem to have these games whenever they get together. But yeah, a really, really good one for Penn State. One that I think solidifies them as a college football playoff contender. One that, shows that this team is different than years past under James Franklin. This is a team that can, answer those gut check calls. I think there's about 4 or 5 of those gut check moments for Penn State today, and they succeed in every single moment. But yeah, what a massive win for Penn State. A big one, and they're now 6-0. They go into the bye week. Chance for them to get healthy. They need to get healthy going into these last 6 games. And but yeah, Penn State 6-0. College football playoffs goal is well in reach now with this win, and now they can focus on getting healthy. Focus on Wisconsin October 26th. But like I said earlier, that all the eyes are now on for everybody else at Ohio State game November 2nd. Potential 1v2 matchup. Maybe at least a top 10 matchup, if not top 5 matchup. But yeah, Penn State wins 33-30. One last check. It is 22-20 Oregon going into halftime likely. So that's going to be big one there to watch as Saturday after evening wraps up here. But yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. Go over to pennstate.rouse.com for more post-game coverage from tonight's Penn State win over USC, and we'll have more coverage tonight, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday on Penn State. Bye week coming up, so a lot of reviewing the first 6 weeks of the season and looking ahead as well. So thanks again, everybody. Penn State wins again, 33-30. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, or if you're listening on Sunday, enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy your week. Enjoy the bye week. A lot of you, I think, will need that bye week after this game. I'm sure there's a lot of high blood pressures. But, yeah, Penn State wins 33-30. We'll sign off at this point. Have a good night, everybody, and we'll talk to you all real soon.